With me now is Mitchell Epner, former federal prosecutor for the District of New Jersey. Good morning, and I'm so glad that you could be with us today. Let's begin with the opening statements. They finally have a jury seated. What's at stake in this trial, and what do you expect to hear from both sides as this begins?
So the government has already begun their opening statement, and they are telling a story that's really quite ugly and awful, that Sean Combs, for decades, ran a sex trafficking ring that was fueled by violence, threats of violence, drugs, use of collateral as blackmail, and interstate transportation of people for purposes of prostitution. The defense is going to argue that all of this was consensual and that the government is just trying to criminalize the sex life of a very high-profile person.
Yeah, I've looked at a couple of the updates from just the opening statements, and it's disgusting. There's no other way to put it. So how strong is the case against him? Can you explain what sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy means?
Yes, I can. I used to lead these types of prosecutions. Basically, what the government has to prove is that Sean Combs organized a group of people to feed these so-called freak-offs, that the freak-offs were done against people's will, that they were coerced into it either by violence, threats of violence, or use of blackmail, and that people were trafficked from state to state, prostitutes who were getting paid to participate. And also, they've alleged that these things were drug-fueled with enormous amounts of ecstasy and other illegal drugs.
Mitchell, as you know, leading into this trial, as soon as Diddy was arrested, maybe even before, there were rumors about other celebrities who may have been involved. I believe they're being perhaps referred to as escorts or clients. That's what we've heard in court today. Mitchell, do you think that we're going to hear names named? Could celebrities perhaps be revealed during the process of this two-month trial?
I think that's possible. I don't think that will be the focus of the prosecution. They are already in a very high-stakes trial trying to convict one very famous and charismatic person. There is no upside to them to bringing other celebrities' names into it.
How strong is the case? I can already hear a lot of people saying, oh, celebrities, they usually get off.
So the single strongest piece of evidence, which has already been referred to during the opening statements, is the hotel video of Sean Combs beating, while dressed in nothing but a towel, his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. And an additional piece of information, at least new to me, that came out during opening statements was that after the beating of Cassie Ventura, Sean Combs and his associates attempted to pay $100,000 in cash to the hotel security staff in order to retrieve that video. That video is extraordinarily powerful evidence, and I think that that will be the linchpin for the government's case.
Well, speaking of which, and this will be my last question for you this morning, Mitchell, we also heard from Diddy. There was that video where he said, you know, essentially, I want to be a better man. Does that work against him now in his case?
So, rule number one for any criminal defendant or potential criminal defendant is shut up. Rule number two is shut up. Anything that a criminal defendant thinks they're saying that might help them can be used by the government in the worst possible light. So yes, I think that it is highly likely that the government will take that statement by Sean Combs about wanting to be a better man as an admission that he had, in fact, committed these crimes.
Mitchell Epner is a former federal prosecutor for the District of New Jersey. Mitchell, thanks again for being with us today. I really appreciate your time.